Hey Saiko? Are you ready to kill some demons in the Dark Ages? Let's review Doom: The Dark Ages. John Carmack, co-creator of the original Doom and former lead programmer of id Software, once stated that story in a game is like story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not important. While it's been many years since John Carmack was involved in game development for id Software, it seems his words continue to ring true for the development team. Doom: The Dark Ages does have a story, but it's nothing more than cement to keep the bricks together. You have humans and demons and aliens all fighting each other for world domination or world peace or who knows what. But the humans have a secret weapon that'll change the tides of battle, the Doom Slayer. And the Slayer has one mission.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
What Doom: The Dark Ages lacks in story, it more than makes up with pulse-pounding action, and I'm all for it. You can destroy demons with your guns, your fists, and even your shield, and everything is upgradable. With a nicer variety of guns to choose from, like with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, you're likely to find the weapon that feels just right for you. You've got shotguns and machine guns and laser guns, a rocket launcher and grenade launcher, all the weapon types you'd expect from the Doom series, and a couple of new ones thrown in for good measure. The gunplay feels as solid as one would expect from an id Software shooter. They've been doing this for a long time and it shows. The shooting mechanics feel old school, but in a good way. It doesn't play like Call of Duty or Titanfall, it's its own thing, an evolution of the gameplay id Software pioneered oh so long ago. The same way Forza Motorsport is considered a simulation racer with its realistic driving physics, and Burnout Paradise is an arcade racer with wacky physics and glorious over-the-top crashes, I would describe Doom: The Dark Ages as an arcade first-person shooter. If you want realism, play Rainbow Six, but if you want balls-to-the-wall mayhem where you can play as the ultimate demon-slaying warrior, Doom is where it's at. The only time I felt a tinge of disappointment with Doom's arsenal was when I finally discovered the BFG. For those that aren't in the know, the BFG is a staple of id Software shooters, particularly the Doom and Quake series, and it's always the game's most powerful gun capable of killing an entire room of demons with one shot. Each version of the gun is always different from the last, and it's something of a joy to discover the weapon and see how it's designed and how it feels. But for Doom: The Dark Ages, I think the design was a little underwhelming. It fits the Dark Ages theme, it is an unexpected design, and it's as powerful as it should be, but when compared to some of the designs and the look and feel of the other weapons in the game, the BFG doesn't feel so BFG. Melee combat in first-person shooters isn't always successfully implemented. Sometimes it can feel like an afterthought or a last resort mechanic to use when you're out of ammo and trapped in a corner. But in Doom: The Dark Ages, it's a perfect complement to the gunplay. It's almost like boxing. You jab at the demons with your guns until they're dazed or weakened, and then you rush in to finish the job with some fisticuffs. You start off with the power gauntlet.
Power glove. Everything else is child's play.
But as the game progresses, you'll eventually find a flail, which inflicts some serious pain, and lastly, much later in the game, you'll get the Dread Mace. It's an awesome handheld weapon that deals devastating damage. It's almost like the BFG of melee combat. By far the newest and most surprising tool added to the Slayer's combat arsenal is his shield. When I first saw images of Doom: The Dark Ages gameplay, I was curious how the shield would integrate into the action. Would it feel like a genuine part of the game, or just a gimmick to give the Slayer a superficial upgrade but nothing more? Well, I'm happy to say the shield is a first-class gameplay citizen. As you'd expect, you can use the shield defensively. You can block bullets, energy blast, even physical attacks from demons charging down on you. However, you can't just hold up your shield and expect to never take damage. Certain elemental attacks like fire or lightning can pierce the shield's defenses. And moreover, if you absorb too many hits in short succession, the shield will break. But not to worry, after a semi-brief cooldown period, it'll return for use again. Now the shield is useful as a defensive tool, but it's far more effective and downright more fun to play with as a weapon. You can target a specific enemy from a distance and charge at them with your shield to inflict significant damage to that demon and its surrounding minions. It's almost like a game of bowling. Aim for the right monster in the pack and your shield charge can obliterate them all. Next, you can throw the shield a la Captain America, which is great for shattering metallic armor that's been superheated red by your gun blasts. Finally, and best of all, you can use your shield to parry and deflect enemy attacks. Every so often when a monster attacks, either with an energy blast or a demon swipe, their attack will be painted green. And if you raise your shield just before those attacks land, it'll trigger a parry. For energy blast, a parry will deflect the shot right back at the enemy who launched it, usually for great damage. And for physical attacks, the parry will stun the attacking demon and some close by, momentarily opening them up for an easier kill. The parry mechanic alone makes the shield worth its digital weight in digital gold. Anytime I was surrounded by demons, which happened often, I would look for the green and parry the hell out of everything. It was fantastic. Before I move on from gameplay, I want to quickly address the proverbial cherry on top of this Doom Sundae, a gameplay mechanic that ties everything together. And that is, everything is upgradable. You can upgrade your guns to unlock more damage, increase fire rate, or add elemental effects. You can upgrade your melee attack power and shield. You can even upgrade your overall health, armor, and ammo capacity. All core stats can be upgraded by just playing the game and playing it well. Weapon upgrades can be purchased via sentinel shrines you'll find in each stage. To purchase an upgrade, you'll need to collect gold, rubies, and wraith stones found strewn about the world in secret areas or dropped by defeating special monsters. Your core stats are upgraded by defeating special mini bosses with an execution move that'll rip out their heart in order to absorb their power. It's a great mechanic because it rewards achievement with actual gameplay boosts to your character. You're not just getting a higher score or unlocking an achievement trophy. You're actually gaining new skills, more power, and making your slayer that much more of a badass. It makes exploring every detail of the game's world that much more fun and rewarding, because you never know when you'll stumble upon another ruby or special demon that'll unlock your next upgrade. Doom: The Dark Ages looks great. The world design is a combination of castles and fortresses mixed with futuristic tech. It's old and new thrown together in a way that works. I'm normally not a fan of post-apocalyptic world design. I feel the standard color palette of brown, dark brown, and light brown that plagues most post-apocalyptic Fallout-style landscape designs generally become boring to look at after a while, but not with Doom: The Dark Ages. Maybe it's because I was constantly bombarded by hordes of monsters, so I never really took a moment to stop and smell the roses. Or maybe it's because id Software has over 30 years experience of designing hellscapes, but I never found myself tiring of the visuals. The character designs are great, they remind me a bit of Gears of War, which I'm not against, and all the demons look appropriately monstrous and die in brutally satisfying ways. In fact, it's quite fun and awesomely gory to see the flesh of thine enemy being torn asunder by the fury of your devastating power. I think it's clear that when id Software rebooted their Doom franchise back in 2016, they wanted the player to feel like they had the power. They wanted us to feel like Rorschach did when he went to prison in The Watchmen.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me!
The Doomslayer isn't trapped in hell with demons. The demons are trapped in hell with the Doomslayer. And I'm happy to say, id Software pulled it off yet again. That's why I'm giving Doom: The Dark Ages a 4.5 out of 5. It's a great arcade-style first-person shooter. The gunplay and melee combat has a level of polish that you'd want and expect from veteran developers like id Software. But the true standout is the addition of the shield. With the rushdown tactic and parrying, the shield opens up new gameplay avenues not seen in the series before, and it's awesome. The entire game can be beaten in roughly 15 to 20 hours, and in my opinion, that's the perfect length. It doesn't feel too short nor overstay its welcome. My only critique of the game is that I wish the gunplay felt as innovative and exciting as the shield. Don't get me wrong, the shooting mechanics are great and capture a style of gameplay that truly feels like an evolution from what started over 30 years ago with the original Doom. But there's only so much you can do to tighten the controls or make the shooting impact feel explosive. Therefore, I would like to see more context-sensitive hit points on the demons. For the most part, we have headshots and body shots. That's about it. Shoot the head and the demon dies faster, shoot the body and it takes longer. But why not have leg shots or arm shots? Why not be able to disable limbs or trip a monster by shooting out its legs? I love the fact that id Software keeps the scope and scale of the Doom games relatively small, meaning they're not trying to make an open world game the likes of Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption. Keeping the scope smaller means they can go deep on gameplay mechanics. Therefore, what I'd like to see them do is further evolve how the monsters react to being shot. It's great that we can literally shoot off the flesh of the demons in the game, but it is a tad disappointing that all that damage is mostly superficial. Until they're killed, their animations and attack patterns stay the same regardless of the visible damage they seem to have suffered. It'd be cool if the demons' movement and attack patterns changed based on the level of damage they received across their entire body and not just their head and torso. If you enjoyed Doom or Doom Eternal, you'll definitely have a great time with Doom: The Dark Ages. It feels like an old school first-person shooter that's been properly updated with modern gameplay standards and techniques. I don't believe Doom: The Dark Ages is as revolutionary as Doom 2016 was for the series. After all, when Doom 2016 came out, it was a breath of fresh air to a gaming culture saturated with Fortnite, Call of Duty, and the like. However, I will say that Doom: The Dark Ages is the next evolutionary step of Doom, unlike Doom Eternal, which felt more like an extended DLC. It was a joy to play, and I look forward to what id Software does in the next iteration of the franchise. I like the concept of theming Doom by different eras. Maybe in the next game the Slayer can be an ancient samurai, with a gun in one hand and a katana in another, slicing off the heads and limbs of the demon horde. But wherever they take the series next, they can count me in.